Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
Hey, what happened?
I'm such a rookie.
The quote of today: toxic people always act like they are the victim. You know, I hope you guys have been enjoying these quotes of the day for these episodes. I know this is only like the third episode I have ever done for this channel, but it's just like I've done actually a couple other podcasts that some are still going and some that are just there to be seen as like a blast from the past. And usually how I've processed through the editing is giving like an intro into the actual intro and then you talk. And that's just the flow that I've always done. And which usually with those two other podcasts that I have been on, I have done an intro music to like, oh, stay right there because, ooh, this podcast is starting soon. And then it will go with a little introduction music into the introduction, and then we start talking. And if you guys want to see those podcasts that I am talking about right now, they will be down in the description below for now on in every episode I do. So if you want to see some other podcasts that I have done in the past or slowly getting back to it, they will be down in the description below. But I hope you guys have been enjoying these quote of the day stuff because I did not know how to start off this podcast because, you know, every podcast simply starts off with a simple introduction, but I wanted something that could like, you know, stick out a bit, you know, as a small podcast content creator here. You know, I want something at least special in a way that is different from other podcasts. And also thank you to the people who I do jujitsu with that have taken upon themselves to take time to listen to my 2 podcast episodes that have been on here. And it's been amazing feedback from what I've heard from them, that they like gave me comments about some of the episodes, or like said like, hey, I have slowly started watching it, but hey, I'll make sure to finish it. And today, when I did a little jiu-jitsu meetup with some of my jiu-jitsu friends, one of them gave me a comment saying that like, hey, I watched one of your episodes and I wanted to say that what was scared for me starting jiu-jitsu was just fear of like, you know, not being good. And I get that because that's like a common factor inside of you when you first start something, that you're always scared that you're not going to be good enough. Because I've been through it. I believe everybody has been through it. I think it's just a common thing for everyone because besides jiu-jitsu fear for me, before jiu-jitsu, I used to play disc golf, and I still do here and there. Just haven't done much this year of disc golf, but it's always fun to see that when you take a huge break off of something that you were so good at, and then when you go back into it just for fun for the day, and you're just like, oh, I don't know if it's gonna be good, and like you just got your first throw or your first time like doing it, it's just so perfect, and you're just like, still got it. That's pretty good. Because when I first started disc golf, I knew I was so bad, and I'm just like, gosh, these people here are like insane, because I've never had an underscore game. And what I mean by underscore is like being in the negatives. If you guys ever have watched like golf, you see that like lots of these people are like minus 16 or like minus like 20. That's like, and that's the term for that is being under, and being over is when you're in the plus. So in golf terms, being in the negatives is better than being in the positives. So, and just being in that group era of disc golf, it was just crazy because I'm like, I know I'm bad. I can't do jack shit. But like now, as I look back into like taking the time of practicing and focusing on it at the time, and now I'm focusing more on jujitsu, I can see a lot of improvements. And when you take time off of it and you go back into it, it's pretty shocking when you just have that click and you are just like, wow, I took this long of a break, but yet I haven't lost a single thing. That's pretty awesome. That's always a cool thing. So I understand from what that person said to me that fear was the main factor of starting, and just, I'm not good, but don't worry though, because sooner or later you will be better than others, or be better from where you started, and you'll be teaching new incomers that come and want to learn about jiu-jitsu. So that was pretty cool. And then like other people have been saying that, like, the setup has been great of how I do my podcast, and so it's pretty cool. So guys, now we get into the introduction. Wow, this has been long until I got to the introduction. But anyway, hello guys, welcome to the I'm Such a Rookie podcast, where this rookie right here, who is still a 3-stripe white belt, talks as a black belt about his journey in jiu-jitsu, random topics, or just random things that comes to his mind, and he sits in front of his microphone and talks like he knows what he's talking about. So guys, I'm kind of like beat, today. I'm kind of like a bit on the tired side, and I remember when COVID hit that the term being tired was not in my dictionary, because I was only a part-timer retail worker, and I was a retail worker for about almost a decade. But during COVID time, I was still in the part-time era where, I wasn't dedicated to a job. I had my days off, work 3 days, 4 days a week. Sometimes they would try to cheat the system and make me, the part-timer, work 5 days a week. And, as a part-timer, when you get a little bit more hours, that's pretty good. But when you get into the full-time, you're just like, it's just a constant same hours a week over and over again. But to me, I think it depends on the job you're at, because right now I'm a paraprofessional and I am perfectly fine with the schedule I have of Monday through Friday, and then I have the summertime off, and it's cool because it's a 12-month payment plan, so it's a little bit lesser money for each paycheck, but they've taken that money that I could have gotten for those paychecks and putting it aside, so during the summertime when I'm not working, they still pay me, and that's pretty cool. And so I get to have the time to enjoy my life a bit after, working my ass off, taking care of students that need help. And then you finally get that maybe like a month, 2 months of a breather and reflect, and then get prepared for that. But during COVID, when I was a part-timer, I always did not want to say I was tired, that I was worn out, because being tired in my book is like just absolute laziness, where you could push yourself a little bit more to get that stuff done. And I kept saying, like, I'm not tired, I'm worn out. And next thing I know, it's like, okay, what do we have going on today? And at the time I would want to be a writer and write screenplays, and I still do a little bit here and there, trying to get back into that. Because when I started doing like jiu-jitsu and stuff, like I kept focusing on that, and I kind of put the other stuff that I used to do a lot aside for a bit, but I'm slowly getting back into that. But I kept saying, all right, so what is on our agenda for the day? Typing? Cool. What's the goal? We need 10 pages each week for this screenplay, type at least 10 pages, because I never had a goal set of how many pages I wanted to do for a screenplay. It was just type away, because the first draft is literally just typing away, and then you proofread it and try to cut it down a bit. to see where you get. So I would be like, I'm not tired. I'm worn out. Boom. 2 pages are done. Cool. We have 8 more to go. And I just kept saying that over and over and over and over again to where it was a constantly bouncing in my head. And next thing I know, those 10 pages that I was supposed to do for a week turned into getting them done in a half a week. And okay, cool. I got these 10 pages done. Why don't I continue a bit more? And then at the end of the week, I could have like 14 pages done. And then I kept saying that motto, the motto I had over and over again. Next thing you know, half a week went into a day. And then by the end of the week, I could hit my monthly goal of 30 pages in that first week. Now, I could stop there, but I didn't. I kept going. And I believe one time I almost had like a whole story done in 1 month, because you just kept pushing yourself and want to achieve that goal. And that was pretty good. But now we're in the present, and I understand now from my buddy Marco that if you take a couple of weeks off from jiu-jitsu and you come back, it's going to be a bit hard. And I kind of see what he means, because in my last episode, I mentioned that I was quite sad because my jiu-jitsu gym had to be closed at the time. And I don't believe it is going to, at this time, have any changes to being reopened again. And it's okay, because I have been staying in touch with my jiu-jitsu buddies, and we have been doing meetups when we can. Just have a good time, do some techniques, do some rolls. It's been a good time. So, and it was only once a week. And my buddy Marco has just started his vacation for his job. And last Thursday, we had a Marco jiu-jitsu class. And those are always fun, because the people that show up to his class are the people who you want to be around. The people who are there to learn, to improve, and to have fun and not be jackasses. Because what I'm trying to relate, when one of my jiu-jitsu buddies, when she came up to me and said that fear of not being good was what I was afraid of, I was kind of thinking, like, I understand that, because when you go to a gym, you have the non-toxic people and the toxic people. And I'll give you an example, because I've got recommended some topics to talk about for future jiu-jitsu podcasts for this podcast. And one of the topics was, why don't you talk about a position that you hate doing or being in? And I couldn't think of that, because I couldn't think of anything, because I was just like, what I really hate is toxic upper belts, or just toxic belts, even in the white belt area. But as a white belt, I use the term upper belts because I'm a white belt. But I have also dealt with a toxic white belt as well too. So let me give you an example of a non-toxic and a toxic. So you got picked to roll with this person, all right? And you're rolling, and you're trying to like survive, okay, as a white belt versus upper belts. You're trying to survive, and you're doing well, and the next thing you know, he gets you in the hold, but he doesn't try to squeeze you hard. He just does a little press and done. And then you're like, oh shit, did I do something wrong? Like, because that was really quick, but you didn't like do much. It's like, oh no. I just found an opening, and I just did. You did very well, actually, and I hope for you to keep going and improve and do better. And it was a great roll. You did it fantastic. Keep up the good work. Then you have this person you're rolling, and he's got you gripped good, and you're trying your best to get out of it. Next thing you know, something didn't go well. You slip, you land on him, and he gets upset, and he puts you in a triangle chokehold and squeezes. And then when it's done, he looks at you and say, "Don't ever fucking do that again." Which one do you believe is the better part? I'll give you a second. All right, time's up. If you said that guy, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because if I made a gym, I do not want that in my gym. We are here to show new people that jiu-jitsu is a good thing to have in life. It's not supposed to be toxic. It is not supposed to be awful to them. We want to keep people, not make them rush out the door. And I get it. Life is not going to be rainbows and sunshines. There is going to be times where you're going to hit a wall or a person that just is up in your business. But we can work around it and be professional and be mature. So the first person that I mentioned being Untoxic, his name is Corey. I love Corey. Corey is a black belt. And if you guys ever come into the Illinois area and you find our place that we like to do jiu-jitsu at, and if you see if you show up and you see that a guy named Corey is there and a guy named Marco is there, you are in for a time of your life. Because these people want you to improve. They want you to stay. They want to show you the bright side of jiu-jitsu. Because we're here to have a good time. And we are here for you. Now, the other guy I'm going to throw on the bus, his name was Kyle. And Kyle is one promotion away from being a black belt, but I feel like he struggles to teach. Like he gets so much of a hothead that he thinks that he's better than you and everything, and just wants to be an ass. I mean, if you want to be an ass, then go somewhere else, because I don't want that. So Missy, if you're listening to this, I'm deeply sorry that I just called Kyle out. I hope that you understand, and I hope you are doing well wherever you are at, and we miss you a lot over at our little jiu-jitsu hangout. Hope to see you soon. Now I just need to breathe for a second. But that Thursday class that I had of Marco's, like these people, it felt good. It felt like a great class. And because when you have a great class and when you're around people that you actually want to be around, you want to extend that class more. And I showed up later than when the class started because I was just running a bit behind, and I told Marco that I would get there as soon as I can. And when I got there with my stepdaughter Brecken, we had like 30 to 45 minutes left of class, but it wasn't enough, and I wanted to keep going. So I rolled with these guys, and it was so much fun that I was so happy that we all stuck together, and we just waited a bit till someone said, "Hey, let's do something. Let's have some fun." I remember when I first started jiu-jitsu and encountered Kyle that I just knew that I did not care for him. When I first started and I was like a no-stripe white belt, I tried my best to listen to everybody around me. But when it came to him, I just could not get anything to stick in my head for what he was trying to teach me. If I could think of something right now that I learned from him, If you're looking at the video, I mean, all I can think of is 2-on-1 for nogi. That's it. And what I mean by 2-on-1 is there's one, and then your other hand is underneath that. 2-on-1. Wow. Thanks, Kyle. You're really helpful. If I could really think of upper, I don't know how many like brown or black belt jiu-jitsu people are out there in the world. I should have Googled that, but if I was, there's probably a lot, but it's like in my journey so far, I feel like if I could count right now, 5 upper belts that I'm okay with. Because they are trying to teach you that they want you to stay, they want you to have a good time. When I have rolled with Corey, and I had never had a bad problem. I have rolled with Marco, haven't had a bad problem. I've rolled with Missy, haven't had a problem, even though that she like surprise attacked me into a roll. I thought she wanted to hug, and next thing I know, she's trying to pull guard while she's hugging me. I have rolled with a brown belt guy named Josh, and I already knew that I was going to lose that match because I never rolled with him, and I knew he was hiding stuff. And boy, does he hide things. You know, when you see an upper belt, you already know that you're going to like lose, but you can do your best. But when you know, and then you get surprised by other things that they do, because when I rolled with Josh, he put me in mount instantly, and I just could not get out. Like I tried pushing, but he had so much dead weight on him that I just laid there. I just laid like this and waited until time ran out. I was like, I can't do anything. I have already hit defeat, and yeah, good roll. Maybe in the future we can roll again. And that's the first and last time I've rolled with Josh. And then we get to a purple belt guy. His name is Austin. Austin's a great guy. But that dude, in my opinion, I feel like he could be a black belt already. Because he's so fucking good. That is just like, when he has something in mind to do, I am instantly his dummy. He doesn't even come up and say, hey, he does sometimes come up and say, hey, I learned this new thing. May I use you? And I'll be like, okay. But now it just comes when he has something new. He just grabs me. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, I got something I want to try. Okay. And pop. You okay? Yeah. All right. Let's have a good class. All right, Austin. Good talking to you. But those are the people that you want to be around when you are first starting. You don't want no toxic environment. There's going to be toxic all the time. But I do gotta say, there were 2 people that when they walked into my old gym, I was like, fuck. Because I always thought to myself when class started, it's like, okay, cool, it's gonna be a good class. Then I hear a door. And walked Kyle. I'm like, fuck. Okay, just ignore him. The mature way is to just ignore and just go on with class. And I know when he said a lot of stuff, I just tuned it out because I'm like, I've tried, but it's just like, you have so much heat in your head that you're a hothead and you think that you're a know-it-all. I just hate those people. And then my old professor, another old professor, when he walks in, I just know I won't learn a single thing in general because all he did was talk and talk and talk and talk. To the point where I'm like, what does a 7-Eleven slice of pizza have to do with the Kimura? I did this and this. And that made me remind myself about a 7-Eleven pepperoni slice of pizza that I had in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. So, about putting this person in guard now, what was I supposed to do again? I don't know, because I have now 7-Eleven pepperoni pizza stuck in my head. he would just keep talking and talking, and I just feel like, dude, I just want to learn. Nothing against you. I understand that you want to talk about your life, but like if you want to talk about your life in jiu-jitsu, put a mic in your face. Or go write it, or go find a blog and type about it and just share it. Simple as that. This is not coffee talk. We're here to learn, buddy. Come on. You gotta be smart. Yeah, but it's like Toxic really fucking bubbles me right now. I'm trying to stay calm a bit, but it's just crazy. And then I also forgot to mention about a lower white belt, and this is a big story. This is a story that is gonna live for me for the rest of my life because it was literally life or death that I witnessed. Life or death. Because you do not contact the person in charge of his gym and ask that I want to be trained because I want to fight someone for money. This is not a local jiu-jitsu place near you is not the answer for you. You should probably do some more research if you want to fight for money. We're here to fight to learn and to achieve our goals. His name was Phil. And I've heard that he is getting into boxing and actually doing like boxing matches. So good for him. Okay, I'm not throwing shade at this guy, but it's just like the life or death situation that I encountered was very toxic. And I hope that you have a good time, buddy, with what you're doing. But when you are rolling with people in your gym, we're not here to try to hurt people, okay? It is the easiest way to not get hurt is to yell tap or tap out. But I feel like if I tapped, he still would have kept going because his like adrenaline was just kicking in. And like there are people that I will roll with, and there are people that I will that I'm done rolling with you. I'm never rolling with you again. It's one and done. And and don't get me wrong, there are people that I roll with that I know I'm going to lose, but I'll still roll with you guys. And that is Corey, Marco, and Austin. Like I know I'm going to lose to them because those people when they roll, this is the not toxic trait in them. Because they will at least let you roll to figure something out before they have their own personal timer in their head that goes off and it's like, okay, and tap. Hey, it's all right. I saw what you have been doing. You're doing good. To the point on this side where like they say they want you to learn, but they just become a big jackass and don't even give you a chance. They just plop on you, flip you around, rotisserie chicken you around, and pretend that they're like a rotisserie rotator. You know, every side needs to get heated up or cooked, and boom, 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 tap, tap. Now you're hurting, and they don't give a fuck, and and their instinct is just making you feel like dog shit. But back to the life or death situation, Phil, who I thought was an okay guy, turns out that, you know, he tried to improve on him, said that he was improving on himself, but in reality, he could not get over the hump. His adrenaline definitely kicked in that night, I would say, because he was so excited to roll with me, and I get it. But you need to understand that this is a gym where that we love and care for each other. So we were rolling, and, you know, in my mind, I know more than he does. So I'm definitely going to win this no matter what. And I kept that motivation going because I at first was like, all right, here we go. Oh, you got his leg. He's got his leg. Oh, his legs are open. I'm going to grab him. So I got his leg. And next thing I know, he just crushes me. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? and he wasn't slowing down. And I remember that I flipped over to put him in the guard, and I was struggling to put him in the guard because he grabbed my legs, and he literally, I was like this, like trying my best, and these are my feet right here. I'm trying to, like, keep him in front of me to the point where he's like slowly crushing me, and my back is not bendy. I am not a gymnast, to the point where I am literally on the ground going, ah, ah, ah. And he's not easing. He's just going and going. And I don't know how I did it, but I literally went from this to somehow swooping my legs out and getting onto the side and bulldozering him onto the mat. And my old professor, not Missy, not Corey, not Marco, not Kyle, but Kyle's not a professor. He's a student. My old professor who started Warhorse did not give two shits of what was happening here. All he said was, "Ooh, a ghost escape. Nice." What the fuck is a ghost escape? I'm trying to fucking survive here. And I put him down. I got into side control. I think I was in mount, and I made him turn to his side, and he was trying his best to not let me get his arm, but I grabbed that arm and I literally ripped it, and it's right here, up in the air, and I put my legs over him, and my adrenaline is kicking in because he fucking almost killed me. That's why I call it the life or death roll. And I smacked his face with my leg, and I just chucked to the floor and was holding that arm. And I bridged, and the next thing I know, he is smacking my arm for a tap. And I stayed professional and mature. He said, "Hey, good roll." And I said, "Yep," and walked away. Now, I could have easily just said, "No, I'm good." And I remember driving home that night, and my stepdaughter said, "Do you think I could ever roll with Phil?" And I without a heartbeat, I was like, "No, you cannot. No, I forbid it. You are not rolling with Phil. You can roll with Marco. You can roll with Corey. You can roll with Zach, Austin. Okay, Zach is a big guy too, but he is not big as Phil. She can roll with Zach because I trust Zach. I trust all these people that I was like naming off. I was naming off everybody, even the people that have not been there for a while. I would prefer those over rolling with Phil." And then later that week, Phil got kicked out of our gym because he would not resist a bit. He just wanted to like show people that that like, when you roll with me, you're fucked. It's not what jiu-jitsu is about. Jiu-jitsu is about, to me, is about improving on yourself, learning about yourself, and physically, being able to move and not feel like you're hurting. Now, I could have said, "Nah, I'm good," but I knew in my head, it's like, I'm gonna win this. I'm going to win. Now, you can definitely just say, "No, I'm good," or "Yeah, we can do it." Or if you want to do the professional way, you say, get your glasses here, put them down like right here, and you say, "Dear Theodore, I would like to firmly deny your rolling. You are a fine person, but I hope one day that we can have a cup of tea where I can take a sip and say, go fuck yourself." Because that's also what I would like to say. That's also what I kind of had inside my head when Kyle tried to roll with me too, but I just said no, but I truly just want to say, go fuck yourself. Or you could just say, or you could do the mature way and just say, "No, thank you. Nah, no, thank you. I'm good for today. Give them a nice good bow if you want to. I don't know what you do. And walk off. So all in all, the people that I have surrounded myself with, and the people that I pushed out of the way to keep me going in my journey, it depends on the people that you want to be around for your journey. And I really, deep down inside of my heart, would really recommend for you to find the good side of jiu-jitsu, the good people that will show you the light. You know, when you first start jiu-jitsu, it's a big room of darkness, foggy, cloudy, can't see where you're going, until someone out of the crowd, could be a friend, could be somebody who wants to help you out, and later keeps on wanting to be your guidance, comes out of that fog, that darkness, gives you their hand, and says, I got you. That right there is people you want to be around. Or people that you roll with, that gives you at least a chance to figure out situations. And gives you hopefully a win in the end before that they say, all right, time's up. Boom, boom, boom. Good roll. Let's do it again. You want to do it again? Yeah, that was really fun. Those are people that you should be around. The people that want to teach you, the people that will reach out to you after class and say, hey, you doing all right? Hey, did you have a good class? Hey, what did you think? Hey, I'm glad that you came back, and I hope to see you continue on because it's a fun place. That is what you should look into jiu-jitsu. And there's a lot. And if you see influencers, jiu-jitsu influencers, look of how they act too if you ever want to do research on some moves and stuff, because I've seen the good and I've seen the good and the ugly. And the ugly, I follow that ugliness a bit, just because some of the moves that they do look so easy and simple. But I really hate that after one tap, he says one tap's not good enough and makes them tap again, and then he laughs about it. And I've seen people that he uses as a dummy just hate that, and they try to laugh it off. But I can tell with their facial expressions that they are hiding the with a big smile on their face. So that was a lot, and that was a lot of venting there. So I think that was our first episode of venting a bit. But it's just if you want to talk outside of class. When it's class time, we're here to learn. That's why I just shut my mouth. And it's still funny when people say oh my God, I have a voice. Yeah, I have a voice. I just don't feel like it right now because, I'm trying to focus on something here. And I will deeply say I'm thankful for the people that I've stuck around with, because if it wasn't for them, I think I would have not survived jiu-jitsu. I feel like I've been through a couple of things, and I can get into that into a story time episode again. But I think we're going to stop there for today, guys. Thank you all so much for listening, watching. Make sure to check down in the description below of those other podcasts that I mentioned at the beginning. And as always, guys, even if you're a white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt, we are always such a rookie. Thank you, guys.